You are watching the Tuesday night edition of Chicago Corner. Woo!
Hello, hi, welcome to Taco Tuesday. Who wants a taco? Yeah, I know. Tacos, go crazy. All right, everyone, act normal. Perfect. Now, everybody say, Taco Tuesday.
Oh my God! It's Taco Tuesday!
Hello, everybody. I am Deep Dish Pizza enthusiast Edward Heller. Welcome to the Tuesday night edition of Chicago Corner, also known as Taco Tuesday edition of Chicago Corner. And sadly, there's not a whole lot of news going on today. I mean, we got a little bit to talk about on the show today. So I guess we could start with. Well, happy National Foodies Day, everybody. I thought we'd take just a moment to talk about, let's do a little Foodies quiz. Foodies quiz number 1, what are microgreens? Wait a minute, I'm hearing from my producer that we have something breaking. Hold on a second. We go live to my dummy correspondent, Dummy Trump. Dummy Trump, thank you for joining us this evening. I think we have a wing. I was told by my producer we have a wings update. Do you know where the wings are?
There is a great wingspiracy going on right now. I have no idea where the wings are. I have my own problems to deal with today that are far more important than the wings.
So my producers were misinformed, then you have no new information on where the wings are.
I have no information regarding the wings.
Okay. Well, just in case, maybe you should stick around because now they're just telling me that we have some actual breaking news. So hold.
That's what I came for.
This is a CBS News special report. I'm Nora O'Donnell.
I guess the news report will say it.
With news about former.
Hold on a second, Dummy Trump. Let me make sure that this is playing at the correct speed. We don't want to play it at regular. We'll go slightly faster than regular here because you're going to want to stick around for this update in case you weren't informed of the results of something related to you, Dummy Trump.
Oh, I know the results, and I have plenty to say about it.
This is a CBS News special report. I'm Nora O'Donnell in Washington. We are coming on the air with news about former President Donald Trump, as a jury in New York has found that Trump sexually abused and defamed E. Jean Carroll and awarded her $5 million in damages.
Fake news.
This was a civil
Fake
case
news.
that went on for the
Fake
past 2
news.
weeks. It was a quick verdict. They just started deliberating this morning. The jury also finding that Trump did not rape Carroll, but that he is liable for battery and for defamation. Want to bring in Elaine Quijano, who is there and has been covering this trial. Elaine? Well, Nora, it took this jury of 6 men and 3 women less than 3 hours to reach its decision against the former president of the United States, finding him liable, as you said, for sexual abuse and defamation. Now, E. Jean Carroll, the writer, had alleged that Donald Trump had raped her in a New York City department store dressing room in 1996. That is a claim that Donald Trump repeatedly denied. During the trial, Carroll had said that she was too shaken at the time to report that to police, something that Trump's defense attorney, Joe Tacopina, had questioned. That attorney also pressed Carroll on why she could not remember the exact date.
Okay, we don't have to get into all the details. You guys,
as I explained with my Access Hollywood interview, so long as I take these women shopping, I am fully within my rights to grab them by the pussy. I took one woman furniture shopping. I took this woman. I was with her while she was clothing shopping. What is the problem?
The problem is that you're a total creep, Mr. Former President.
Look, when you're a celebrity, unfortunately or fortunately, you're allowed to grab women by their genitals. And what are they complaining about, since I am the powerful celebrity, that they should
that's not cool.
That they should be honored.
Okay, that's not cool. Okay, so we go to the CBS News story here because I think it's important for everyone to know what a total big civil case loser you are and how much less rich you're going to be after this.
I have plenty of money. This CBS story is just more fake news, but let me read it for you.
Oh, let me read the headline. It's Donald Trump's net worth in 2023. How much money does the former president really have?
Fake news.
At least 5 million less.
Probably several million more after I collect my judgment from Stormy Daniels.
Okay,
although in that case that was consensual.
You probably make more through super chats tonight than you will anywhere else tonight.
One can only hope.
Now, let me see if I can get to the actual spot where the stories start. Here we go. So, can you read that from here, or are your eyes?
Let's hope. Well? Let's hope the other dummy who bought me off of eBay makes his money back from the purchase in the super chats tonight for our viewers' entertainment value. However, I will read from the CBS fake news article. It states, former President Donald Trump, I was ordered to pay $5 million in damages to writer E. Jean Carroll. She wanted it. After a federal jury on Tuesday found me, can you imagine? It's a disgrace, me, liable for battery and defamation in a civil trial stemming from allegations I raped her in the 1990s. The award comes after I, last year, reclaimed a place on Forbes' annual list of the 400 richest Americans after tumbling from the rankings in 2021.
Tumbling.
Fake news. Fake news. Following the verdict, I posted on Truth Social. I have absolutely no idea who this woman is. This verdict is a disgrace, a continuation of the greatest witch hunt of all time. Although I didn't address the monetary award in my post. The jury found me liable for sexual assault, but not rape, and also found that I defamed Carroll. Here's what they share about my wealth.
Probably less.
As of May, am I talking to you? As of May, you will sit down, sir. You will sit down, sir. I will say, as much as Lori Lightfoot is a thin-skinned, horrible liberal, she learned her manners from myself, the best. I'm the best. My manners are the best. As of May, Forbes estimates my net worth at $2.5 billion, putting me as a real estate developer at number 1,232 on the magazine's list of the world's richest billionaires. I should be one. One.
Yeah, you're not even close.
That's a 22% decline from 2022, when the magazine estimated my fortune at $3.2 billion. So while my wealth has dipped, a $5 million award stemming from the Carroll ruling represents just a small fraction of my overall wealth, small like my hands.
Yeah,
Like my
you probably
tiny
had you made a terrible deal on Project Warp Speed, if I had to guess. It was probably the worst deal you'd ever made. You probably will write a book about how it was the best one.
They don't call me Donald Tiny Hands for nothing.
I don't call you Tiny Hands. I call you Donnie Short Fingers, because that's the truth. You got regular sized palms and stubby little fingers.
Fake news. My wealth largely stems from real estate that's also funded by Russian oligarchs and Russian banks after I had to file several bankruptcies. I know that's not in the CBS article, but I recommend you all watch Dirty Money on Netflix. Although they're not a sponsor of the show, watch the episode Confidence Man.
Screw those Netflix guys. They're not paying us.
But it's a good episode to understand where my wealth came from. Forbes pegging my New York property holdings at $720 million. I also own golf clubs, and they're the best golf clubs, the best. And resorts.
They'll be even better when they're underwater because of all the global warming.
Quiet. You will be quiet. And resorts valued at $730 million, which, such as the Trump National Doral Miami and Mar-a-Lago, also in Florida. My other assets and investments, which are fabulous, they're the best, are worth another $840 million, Forbes reports.
Can I just say that Mar-a-Lago is one of the dumbest names for a resort? It literally translates sea to lake. Who cares? That's so dumb. And why didn't you just call it Trump land?
Who asked you? Quiet. I'm the former president.
It's my show.
Those other investments include a large stake in Trump Media and Technology Group, which runs the conservative social network called Truth Social, of which is tanked on the NASDAQ since it was originally announced.
Figure out how to make money from that, huh?
I made mine, buddy.
To be fair, Elon can't make money from Twitter either. So
true. That's true news. Last year, Forbes.
So you're in loser company right now.
No, sir. You are the loser. I am the best. I was the best president, and just wait till I come back in 2024.
I will give this to you, though. You at least made good on a couple relief checks, while Melty Joe is still twiddling his thumbs and trying to figure out which direction he's supposed to walk next.
Which is why I fully expect to return in 2024. I also want to mention that all of these young people, wait a minute. Oh, wait, I'm sniffing. I shouldn't be sniffing that. Joe's the one.
That's the wrong president.
It's the wrong president tonight. I do want to say that for all the Generation Z young people out there supporting Alzheimer Joe, I think we know what that Z stands for in Generation Z. It stands for zombie, because Biden's got one foot in the grave. And by the way, for all the criticisms about me assaulting E. Jean Carroll, are we going to talk about Tara Reid?
Oh, well, actually, that's a fair point. Because really, hashtag I believe Tara Reid.
We're all scumbags. Let it be known.
Yeah, you are.
Every president that entered that office has as many skeletons in their closet as me. I just peeled back the layer that exposed it, which is why they hate me. That's the truth.
That's true. Yeah,
you
really leave very little to the imagination.
Thank you.
That's not a compliment.
Wait, I gotta go. I need to go assault another woman. So, I didn't say that. I will let your co-host join and continue this article of fake news that you continue to insist disparaging me. I wanted to set the record straight here. Why is this cat in my face?
That you're totally guilty? Yeah, we knew.
Quiet, sir.
knew it!
Quiet.
Oh, you're still here. Okay. Hang on a second. Let me see if I
Here.
a little.
I am still here.
It'll let you disconnect from us here because I can't. Well, that was weird.
I need some Second City classes, Ed. I don't know how good I am at the improv, but I did my best.
Oh, well, I didn't realize that you were even on the camera. I
Oh,
thought.
what am I saying? What am I saying?
That was a wooden correspondent, dummy Trump.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, as the Wizard of Oz said. Didn't the Wizard of Oz say that?
He did. Yeah, he did. I'm trying to remember where I left off here in my show notes.
Well, we left off. I think.
Let's see.
Left off it is well. Look, how much money does this guy have? He's always overestimated his wealth, and you know why? Because the producers of The Apprentice propped him up on this pedestal by which all Americans thought he is the standard of wealth that everybody wanted to emulate. They wanted to be like him, which is what helped propel him to the presidency, despite the fact he had all those bankruptcies, which honestly. Go check out the Netflix series Dirty Money, The Confidence Man, and you'll understand how he got bailed out. And the connection with Russia and Trump has nothing to do with stealing elections. It has to do with how much was Donald Trump leveraged to Russian banks and Russian oligarchs who bailed him out of his bankruptcies. That's where the money led as far as concerns he might have been soft on anything with Russia. Although, I think that the whole Russia narrative is ridiculous anyway. Yeah. They're a world superpower like we are, and everything we're involved in right now just seems to be about dominance, not about what's fair. But that's a whole other rabbit hole to dive down. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, I'm glad to see you guys joining us today. What did we got Kathy in here as always. Sorry that Big Mr. Firebird has to watch us on the replay because otherwise he's going to drift off trying to watch us live.
Yeah, and Kathy, I see you in the chat. Let's get back to Chicago. We will, but in the interest of building our subscriber base, Chicago Corner is now all the news in Chicago and across the USA from a Chicago point of view, so we can build our subscriber base. And this was an important story today regarding because what is Trump? Yeah. Trump has been Teflon up till now, right? Finally, something stuck. Yeah. And you know what? That shouldn't distract us from Joe Biden and what Tara Reid shared on Twitter, which I'll let
shouldn't. Well, I mean, there's not too much to add other than, Tara Reid is very credible in her accusations.
Absolutely.
There's a ton of corroborating evidence. There are witnesses who recall the situation when it actually happened and all the people that she talked to about it. And like her mother had called into Larry King's late night show to actually talk about it. Didn't mention Joe Biden in person, but it was quite clear that was her mother's voice, and Tara Reid had confirmed it.
They're both scumbag sexual predators, from Clinton to so I guess I don't know that Obama could have gotten away with it because I don't think Michelle would have put up with it. I think she would have beat his ass. Yeah. But Biden. But no, let's not forget Biden when he ran for president originally back in the late 70s. He got hounded out of the race because he was exposed as being a plagiarist and lying about his law school.
80s, but yeah, he's run a few times. He's like he's always had the worst takes. Biden has been a terrible person in Washington for decades, and
lying about his law school record and co-authoring the crime bill. How easily people forget. Oh, kind grandfatherly Joe Biden, who's got this weird fixation with sniffing young children's hair. And there've been a lot of allegations regarding the fact that there ain't something right in that family as far as it comes to the Bidens and young ladies, underage ladies. Okay. It's
Yeah,
just it's a creep show all around on both sides,
yeah, it
from
is.
Trump to Biden.
Yeah, and speaking of creep show, no, I'm just kidding. I want to say hi to Uncle Warren in the live chat.
Oh, that wasn't
good to see-
nice.
I wasn't kidding, man. He knows I'm kidding. Papal Penguin Gaming, welcome. Who else? Ecuadorian Taco 27, good to see you in live chat. Ware Pilgrim, good to see you. Arturo, thanks for joining us. And I guess I don't know if there's much more to talk about this story other than mentioning that really we've had a history of garbage sexual predator presidents. It's like if someone said, "Oh, yeah, the former president got arrested or indicted for sexual predator, blah blah blah," and most people would say, "Which one?"
Well, it's interesting. I got an email. I tend to get a lot of email chains, right? And somebody emailed me something today about Tara Reid's tweet that she said, if anything happens to her, all roads lead to Biden.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
doubt.
I responded, yeah, no doubt. We all know what a creep, what a scumbag Sniffy Joe is. But why don't you hold the other side accountable as well? And I shared the headline from the Tribune today about Trump, what stuck to him and what he owes this woman that he assaulted and defamed. But you can't be tribal with this stuff anymore.
Yeah, you can't do
both
blue
sides
versus
say-
red with this garbage anymore. There's
No.
just it's literally it's all those people in the big club versus the rest of us.
with
And
that seem to be
They have
wrangled
their
by
own
Jeffrey
rules. Yeah.
Epstein.
They got their own rules. They got their own protections. They got their own code of conduct, and they think that they think they're bulletproof and Teflon. Like a lot. I mean, some of them get away with a whole lot of stuff because they have money and power and connections. Well, time's up. We got to stop doing that crap.
By the way, and I want to mention, I have not been able to update our Patreon subs yet, but we now have a 6th Patreon.
Oh, well, welcome, Mystery 6th Patreon.
Derek Graham is his name. One of our fans and viewers, Derek Graham. Derek, you will be updated by Friday in our Patreon sub opening. Derek was also kind enough to recommend I look into the company he works for, Zentro, which is a high-speed internet service provider. Unfortunately, I told Derek, as much as I'd like to see if I could switch to them, so to prevent any more upstream issues, they don't service my area. But I did want to give a shout out to Derek and his company and thank him for his gracious support on Patreon. And Derek, we will add you to the opening for Friday's show.
All right, so we're up to 6. That's awesome.
6.
And if you would like to support this tiny little show, which is a blip on the internet, but we're making waves every day, support us at patreon.com/Chicago Corner.
Got my coffee here.
And speaking of the merch that you were waving in the air, I don't have the merch site fixed yet. I will keep trying to figure out why that isn't showing our items on the
We'll figure it
shop
out.
anymore. We'll get it working again in case you guys want to start buying t-shirts and flavor improving mugs.
So I saw something, Ed, that I want to share with you real quickly before we go on.
Mhm.
Do you know of the Fuck Around and Find Out guy on YouTube?
Which Fuck Around and Find Out guy?
The original, who
'Cause
created
that's a whole movement, Jerry.
Well, it is, but there's one guy who's got this hilarious video on YouTube.
Mhm.
He's a bald guy. I forget his name, but I think he was the one who originally came up with the graph chart behind him.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where it all started. And he sells Fuck Around and Find Out t-shirts and merch.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking we got to come up with something really spiffy and zippy for Chicago
Yeah.
Corner. That's kind of a slogan like that. I mean, if it happens on the streets, you'll hear about it on Chicago Corner.
Mhm.
It's kind of cool, but
Yeah, it is.
we got to think of something that would be really viral that people would want to wear on their shirts and mugs. So we got to
something like P.L. Sullivan's International Chicken Wing and Currency Exchange. Behind that one alley. You know the one.
That requires a lot of setup and backstory, but I'm not going to say no. I mean, it could be one of the many things that we offer.
Yeah, I know there's a whole lot of you had to be there to understand the entire story, but then it's like then somebody will go, what the hell are these Chicago Corner guys talking about? And then they start asking us, and then we tell the story
over and over. We
Over
got
and over
to
again.
create a. You know what we should do? We should do like a Peg Leg Sullivan PowerPoint video that's on the front page of Chicago Corner that
Yes.
everybody can watch at their convenience, something short so people understand who he was, what he and Bessie were responsible for, and why he's always
Well, you mean what they were exonerated for because
that's what
they
you,
didn't
that's
do
what you
it.
think.
Hey, I got proof. I got documents.
All right.
Anyway,
Mark
but if we can't spend time talking about that tonight because there's just, all this breaking type news.
Ed, you might have a point, but let's also be clear.
Mhm.
This is not the first allegation against dummy Trump regarding his activities as a sexual predator. Might I also mention I found some legitimate photos on Twitter of Trump lounging with Epstein and two young ladies who were clearly in their teens. And it just creeped the shit out of me. This guy is dirty. He's always been dirty. However, he managed to put some distance between himself and Epstein. Look,
my understanding that he met his latest wife through
That's
Epstein.
right. That's right. Melania. Yeah, Melania, the model with the Einstein visa, who came over here because of her brains. She came over through Jeffrey Epstein's operation, bringing young women over from Europe. And let's not forget, there was a legitimate Trump escort agency. Now, of course, it did not solicit sexual services.
Well, they never do.
No, they never. Right.
Officially.
But there's a lot of speculation that she came over through that program. Now, you'll never find anything about the Trump escort agency online anymore that provided dates for wealthy men in New York because that all got scrubbed, maybe in the Wayback Machine. But look, Trump, he's a sexual deviant. His money makes him think he can get away with anything, like most rich men get away with, whether it's Epstein or any of the people he provided services for, whether it was, Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, who else? Stephen Hawking was seen at Epstein's Island. I mean, it's just like the list goes on and on and on and on. It's just
all right, but not to get too far into that rabbit hole. We do have more stories to cover tonight, Jerry. And again, more breaking news.
Yeah.
Hit the stop button. Okay, there's a little bit of a delay there, but okay.
This came as a surprise today.
Yeah, I was all ready to talk about Lightfoot anyway because she just gave her farewell address yesterday, which Jerry and I logged into over on the WGN stream to throw in our 2 cents in their live chat. So
I think I threw in $1.50 worth of content.
Yeah,
I gave up.
Yeah, I threw about $5 worth in there.
I could not endure it any further past. I think
there's and we can talk about that for a little bit, but first I want to cover this breaking news.
And thank you for being here. Joining me are Commissioner Brandy Kanazi, Chief Engagement Officer.
Oh, come on. No intros. Get to it.
Individuals and families coming to Chicago, most after being inhumanely and dangerously bused here by Texas Governor Greg Abbott. This was done with little advance notice, no coordination, and simply no consideration for our ability to receive these arrivals in a safe, orderly, and dignified way. Last week, I sent a letter to Governor Abbott when we learned that he may be sending more migrants to our city via bus to try to reason and explain to him that, yes, of course, we are a welcoming city, and we will always do what is right by our immigrant and refugee communities. But we've reached a breaking point in our response to this humanitarian crisis, primarily manufactured by him for cynical political purposes.
It's a crisis beyond what he's manufacturing, but he's also using it as a political football to dog whistle all the xenophobes in Texas.
Yeah, so a lot of the stuff she's going to say, we're going to probably agree with because she's got the rhetoric mostly right here.
Yeah.
She's, the truth is that they have been making efforts to help migrants, not as much as Jerry and I believe that they should be able to. But it's not, but it wouldn't be fair to say that there weren't roadblocks, and she does go down the road explaining what some of them were. And some of that was a delay in federal funding. Some of that was a reduction in federal funding.
In vain. And today we responded to the arrival of 48 more individuals and families that required emergency support and shelter.
She never had a plan,
by
Kathy.
Governor Abbott from Texas. As sympathetic as we are to the significant challenges that border cities face now and have been facing for quite some time, Chicago simply does not have the infrastructure or resources to continue humanely providing for migrants. Both our pre-existing facilities and newly created facilities are full. I explained this to the governor, who ignored this reality, all to burnish his right-wing credentials as he fades into irrelevancy with the upcoming presidential cycle.
Much like her.
Hundreds of migrants are temporarily staying in police stations while they await more appropriate housing. This crisis is not only exhausting our city's resources, but it's flat out dangerous for the individuals and families who have been wrapped up in this political stunt. Sadly, we don't expect the buses to stop arriving anytime soon. Importantly, we've seen in the last couple of weeks a new surge in migrants coming to Chicago on a daily basis. And that is why today I have issued a declaration of emergency to bolster our response to the arrival of the migrants.
She's not going to have to pause it for a second, Ed. Yeah. She's going to issue the edict of emergency, leave in a week with no plan to have even started dealing with this. And it's now Brandon's.
It's like, I don't know what systems she had in place to begin with, but whatever they weren't substantial, and why she waited to the last second to declare any kind of emergency just shows me that she's like, well, now like the heat is on her, even though she's got 6 days left.
She this crisis started, I believe, last November in the winter. Is when we first got the first bus loads to Chicago.
It's like, it was a substandard response at the beginning, and just now she's declaring an emergency. So it just seems
disingenuous.
I don't know what it seems. It's just like, why did you wait so long to do this?
You had to spend more time compiling all the video footage, patting herself on the back for her farewell speech yesterday.
Yeah, and I think I have a link to that as well. But it's like, this is all. It's almost like this is a double purpose announcement here that she's declaring an emergency, so basically she can open up funds and not limit whatever hands she feels were tied previously to spend money to help the migrants right now. And also it distracts us all from being able to really analyze her farewell address. But we're going to do it tonight anyway, because we don't need to spend a ton of time on this. But I thought we should at least talk about how she declared the state of emergency. She's rightly blaming the people who should be blamed. She's complaining about certain types of resource limitations and the fact that she's out of room, which I had previously called bullshit on, because there's plenty of places to house migrants. It's just she's trying to make it like it's got to be the perfect situation for her. I'm like, I think she's genuinely trying to address this, but she's also being way too I don't know what's the word. It's like it's
too little too late, Ed. Plus the migrant crisis,
and she's trying to micromanage it at the same time
while
distracting whatever standards are in her head.
While distracting everybody from the disaster that NASCAR is going to present in July, which we're going to talk about Friday. A lot of shit dumped. Ed brought my attention to the fact there was a lot more being dumped on NASCAR, and it's just too much to cover tonight. But we'll cover it Friday. But I do think there's we're distracted away from the nightmare that's going to be downtown in July because of whatever quid pro quo kickback she got for shoving that down our throats, instead of focusing on the migrant crisis that started last November.
Yeah, or the homeless crisis that's been
That too.
ongoing since she was even in office.
Yep.
So I'm going to get toward the end. Maybe we can.
Fred Smith here told us that being a
I don't know. They keep hitting me with these ads.
I'm going to have to give you our Chicago Corner YouTube log. No, my Nightstar login, which I pay for premium, so you don't hit ads all the time.
Okay.
Historic levels in many instances, whether it's to the homeless, whether it's affordable
Oh,
housing.
here we go. This is
That
where
should, of
she's.
course, be happening at the border. That should not be our responsibility, but we have from the very beginning made sure in partnership with Cook County that we're providing people with the health screenings that are necessary. I think we want to go here. I think we're going to go here. I think we're going to Craig Dellamore, Fran.
Mayor, as your Commissioner Kanazi heard at the hearing that was just held, there are some aldermen, there are some people in the public who fear that the kind of aid, extra aid that they're seeing now going to the new arrivals is coming at the expense of already overtaxed services within the city itself for the homeless, for poor people. What can you say to assure them that they are not, that the sacrifice isn't going to be shared by people who are already having trouble?
Yeah, I've heard people say
No,
that.
sir.
And I would
No,
remind
sir.
Ellen-
No, sir. You will stop speaking. You will stop speaking. You're full of crap, and that's the nicest thing that I can say.
Oh, wait, she didn't say that?
I was wondering when that was going to come out. No, because this is Craig Dellamore she's talking to. She likes Craig Dellamore.
I know.
Remember, she did her last interview with him.
Yeah.
budgets that they vote for, of the services that we provide at historic levels in many instances, whether it's to the homeless, whether it's affordable housing, whether it's support for youth and environment. We're not short-circuiting anyone.
Yeah, I'm calling bullshit on that. I'm not saying that she's favoring one thing over another. I'm saying she's hoarding the TIF slush fund for no good reason.
But Ed, they all do. Rom did the same thing. Richie did the same thing. I'm like wondering, are they hoarding it because they know something about an alien invasion we need that money to like protect ourselves against? Because there's so much money in that TIF fund that's not going, number one, where it should go, or going towards emergencies like this that come up that, they claim we have no money for. We do have the money for it. They just don't want to dip in there. What is that money for if not for an emergency like this? Along with all the federal funds that are coming to the city, that people are wondering, where's that money going that we're not prepared, we're not able to take care of this?
Yeah, and it's it is my suspicion that our last several mayors are actually dragons in disguise. That would be the only thing that explains the hoarding of the TIF funds.
Is that what dragons do? They hoard?
They hoard wealth. That's what you go to those dragon caves and they got this gigantic mountain of gold and jewels and all kinds of stuff. And it's just, it has nothing to do with wanting those things. It's just about hoarding them.
But isn't that what the entire elite class of 1%ers do though, Ed? So that does kind of like fit that analogy or that fit that framework of those at the top, stay at the top, have all the wealth because they hoard it. They don't put it where it's supposed to go, which is why we've got such a vast valley of wealth inequality in this country to begin with, along with where TIF funds and government funds are supposed to go to take care of the citizens that are paying into that system through their taxes.
Okay. We got people checking in the live
chat. Linus
Den, good to see you. Welcome back. We're covering her announcement today of her migrant emergency declaration, which apparently is going to untie her hands to spending money on supporting migrants, which is fine. But maybe she should declare emergencies on a whole bunch of other stuff going on in the city so we can loosen up those TIF funds and spend them on, I don't know, filling the other 2 million potholes that she missed, or put a roof over the homeless.
I thought it was so funny that she focused on the potholes in her farewell address. It's like, lady, you didn't even make a dent in the potholes, okay?
And on your way out, she was so proud that she filled.
I insist we fill the rest of the potholes with her and all the incumbents that have retired or been driven from city council in shame for their corruption.
Yeah, so let me get through. I think there's only a couple minutes left on this one, and then we're going to move on to her farewell, I think.
We are doing what we need to do. We're making sure that we fulfill the commitments that were made as part of our budgets. We're executing on those with fidelity. And the members that are saying that, I'm going to send them a copy of the budget book and remind them what they voted for, because we are executing on the commitments that were made in the various.
So she's blaming city council now.
Of course. Well, look, nobody's to blame.
It's not, and it's not to say that they aren't sharing the blame on some of this stuff, because we know that we know Council Wars 2 is coming, but there still was a junior version of that basically rolling along during Lightfoot's term.
Did somebody say Council Wars 2?
Yeah, we did. Now go cook your oatmeal another minute. It's too watery.
Appropriations just last year and the year before, and we report regularly to the city council on how we're doing, how those monies are being spent. So I understand the concern. Some of it is rhetoric, but the reality is that we are executing on the. At
least she admitted that some of it is rhetoric, which means some of it is not.
This is bad. Pause it for a second. This is an interesting comment that our radar isn't on, but I guess we should pay attention to it. Lioness Den shares now Brandon Johnson has already met with the super secret elite donors in NC, North Carolina, or the DNC. I'm not sure what the NC stands for. And now he's sounding like she did her entire term just now, though. I have not caught that, Lioness Den, but we will certainly pay attention. Our hopes are still high for Mayor-elect Johnson, but as you say, we'll see.
If there is anything that gets on your radar and you think we should know about it, send an email to jerry@chicagocorner.tv or hit us up on Twitter at Chicago Corner TV. Let us know if you see like a news story or a video or something, because if it's something that we think is important, we'll cover it here. That would definitely be something we would want to cover and see if that's something that's going to be problematic for him, or whether he's just trying to make sure that he's got the proper support in the right channels before he gets rolling on basically fixing all the stuff that got broken by the last 3-4 mayors, 5 mayors.
I'm constantly watching Twitter for updates. I mean, look, the guy's not even in office yet. Okay. And most of what I'm seeing on Twitter is a lot of extreme conservatard right-wing racists who are acting like everything that's happening right now is his fault, and the guy hasn't even been sworn in yet. That's most of what I'm seeing on Twitter. But we do see the odd nugget of his staff was contacted for comment, and they haven't commented, which is troubling. It's like you're 5 days out, you can start commenting on this stuff. But as Ed continues with Lightfoot, I'm going to look up what Lioness Den is referring to with Brandon Johnson, North Carolina, and
we
see what I
report on a regular basis with fidelity and transparency about what those are. So I don't want anybody to leave here today, anybody within the sound of my voice, thinking that somehow we're short-circuiting Chicagoans, because we are simply not.
Okay, but you didn't speak up about the property tax hikes, did you, Lori? I don't think you did. That's short-circuiting a ton of people right now, me included. I'm getting hosed big time on my property tax because I can't imagine what other people in other parts of the city are dealing with right now.
Before you continue, Ed, I'm not going to go off in this direction, but real quick regarding what Lioness Den is sharing. This was reported by the Sun-Times on May 4th by Lynn Sweet. Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson to meet with elite Democratic donors in North Carolina. Brandon Johnson on Tuesday will be in Charlotte to speak to the Democracy Alliance. Wednesday in Washington, he will meet with the Illinois congressional delegation and other federal officials. Well, let's read into this two ways. On the alarming side, if it means that suddenly he's going to fall lockstep in line with them, that's troubling. Let's play devil's advocate. Maybe, he's going to have to meet with them in regard to the fact that the Democratic National Convention is coming to Chicago. But we will have to see how this all plays out. Thank you, Lioness, and we're very grateful for that.
Yeah, it's again, we got to wait and see kind of situation happening right here. First, he doesn't come in until the 15th.
Yeah.
And then I give him a month to see what he actually gets done in a month, or at least what he gets rolling on. What's he going to prioritize?
I mean, a month is not a lot of time, but Ed and I talked off the air about this. It's like, let's do like a report card or see in a month, is he actually starting to follow through on his promises, or is he pivoting, and are we going to get the same bullshit we got from Lightfoot where she ran as one thing, and then suddenly we see that, due to the other powers that are influencing him, he suddenly can't follow through on the things that, he said were important to him. We'll see.
And that reminds me, we were going to see if we can put together a Brandon bingo card.
Yes.
Or a bingo card web page or something generator. But we got to come up with like subjects for that. So maybe some of you out there in the live chat, maybe Lioness Den has a few ideas on things that we're either going to predict he will do, or things he will take up, like subjects or policies or priorities that he may take up first. And then we would add those to like the bingo card selections. So for example, I don't know what to use for an example. For example, something about the TIF funds would be, one of the selections. Potholes. We could put that in the center, maybe.
Public bank.
Yeah. Anything. Line items from our Chicago Corner manifesto, or I guess we'll really have to revise or make a new list, because now that manifesto was for the incoming mayor. Now we got to basically come up with what are the priorities for the city? What do we think he's going to do? What do we think his priorities should be?
Well, the manifesto was really for the candidates, but now we need to revise it for now that we know who's our mayor.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All right, let's finish this.
What I will say is this. We have had lots of dialogue, but I'm disappointed in the allocation of FEMA dollars that we just got, and that was announced last week. We got $5.5 million last fall. We got just over $4 million this time. That doesn't make any sense to me. And we have made our disappointment known through the appropriate channels, but I'm calling upon the federal government to solve this problem. And I'll emphasize again.
Yeah, Chewy, come on, man. What you doing, Chewy Garcia? Why aren't you fighting harder? Why aren't you making more of a stink to make sure that cities have the proper support that they need? Not just for the migrants who are coming in, but for all kinds of situations that cities all over the country need, including Chicago, your home city.
I like the comments in the live chat from everybody. Kathy thinks he's listening. Art believes a scandal will happen. Mm-hmm. Lioness Den is sharing with us her concerns regarding alliances with the national Democratic elites. Yes, she does have dead eyes. We've always thought the same thing, Kathy. Why do you think we've often closed our show like this?
Yeah, it's
lifeless eyes like a shark, dead eyes. I got to get Quint's quote from Jaws down to every time we run this. Although I don't know how much we're going to run that since she's on her way out. But
yeah, so
dead, lifeless eyes like a shark.
If we could put people to work legally, it would lessen the strain.
Hold on. Let me back this up because I want you to hear this.
Of FEMA dollars that we just got, and that was announced last week. We got $5.5 million last fall. We got just over $4 million this time. That doesn't make any sense to me. And we have made our disappointment known through the appropriate channels, but I'm calling upon the federal government to solve this problem. And I'll emphasize again, if we could put people to work legally, it would lessen the strain on all of our resources.
She's basically talking about temporary worker visas or whatever for all the migrants so they can work and contribute, which is, I'm like, yeah, put them to work. But whose idea was that really, Lori? Was that someone in the business industry, someone connected to you, maybe in the restaurant industry, who said, look, we got all these migrants coming in. We can't find anybody to work for our shitty wages, but all the migrants will. I hate to say that because I know it would be because I'm fine with migrants being able to earn a living.
You know, Ed, the thing about Lori Lightfoot, she's got lifeless eyes, black eyes like a doll's eye. When she comes at you, she doesn't seem to be living until she bites you and the black eyes roll over white. That's the quote.
Okay. So we'll clip that up and we'll put that on later.
I'll have to do a better Quint read with that, but from Jaws, one of our favorite movies.
Okay. Okay.
When there's no outflow from our shelters because folks can't work legally, that presents a huge challenge, not just here in Chicago, but all across the nation, all the cities like Chicago that have seen this influx of migrants coming to our cities. We need to be able to get them to work. As you know, there's a
Yeah, who's we? Because the federal government could just provide funding to give people food and shelter and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
And they don't realize that it's coming soon for everybody else too. AI is starting to take over some people's jobs. Some things are getting automated. Some things are getting taken over by robot delivery people. We're going to need a basic income someday. And that someday is soon. So, this is panic from all the people in commerce, all the business people, especially people in the restaurant industry, are going, we've got all these migrants coming in, but we can't legally let them work. So give us a way to legally let them work for shit wages. All right. I think that's enough for now. What do we got?
We get the point. I mean, we've clearly.
I got 20 seconds. Let me just play.
Okay. We don't want to bitch about complaining all the time. What are the solutions? We've brought up the solutions. We talked about this in Friday's show. We talked about this, I think, in last Tuesday's show. There are solutions. She's making excuses. She's passing the football to Johnson. She never paid attention to these issues because she was too busy with NASCAR and with giving away HUD land or CHA land, to the Chicago Fire soccer team for a training field. Those were her priorities. These priorities that the chickens have finally come home to roost, and she's on her way out the door without having provided without having focused any attention on it as a priority before.
Shortage of employees all across the nation. Chicago's no different. I am confident that we could put to work every able-bodied adult if they had work permits and we were able to do so legally. This is something that I have been talking about with anyone who will listen in the federal government, from the labor secretary to the Homeland Security secretary, the head of Customs and Border Patrol, of course, folks in the White House. They have got to act with all deliberate speed to issue work permits to the people who are already here so that we can lessen the burden. If they're able to go out and work and take care of themselves and pay for housing, it will solve a lot of the challenges that we are seeing. It's not happening with the kind of speed that is necessary given the crisis that we are all facing.
Yeah, because the crisis is that Burger King is having to close a couple hundred franchises because they can't get people to work for their lousy wages. I don't know how many times I have to freaking say it here. That's what she's doing right now. She's trying to get the federal government on board with hiring people, migrants, for cheap wages because the child labor thing got exposed.
Oh my God, is that fucking insane? I shared that story with you that Crystal Ball did. Not that I'm a huge fan of Crystal, but I mean,
10-year-old kids working at McDonald's.
McDonald's around deep fryers. Well, yeah, maybe I'll talk about that Friday as a national crisis. Real quickly, Papal Penguin Gaming asks us to discuss Alexei. Now, I'm assuming you're talking Alexei Janulius, but here's the thing, everybody, Papal Penguin Gaming included. We prepare show notes that we look at specific stories before a show to acquaint ourselves with. I'm not clear on what Alexei story you want us to discuss. I would encourage all of our viewers, you can always send, and you know what, maybe, Ed, we should open it up this way too. Don't only send us your story tips, but if there's something you see in the news unrelated to yourself that you want to come on the show and talk about, that you want Ed and I to analyze and comment on, like Papal Penguin Gaming asking us to discuss Alexei, shoot an email to jerry@chicagocorner.tv if there's a specific story, and we might see that story and cover it on a Tuesday or Friday show. But if you guys share something with us that we've missed, certainly we will consider it and look at adding it to our show notes. I don't know what Alexei story you're talking about right now, so we can't discuss it because I don't have a point of reference. But if you guys got story ideas or news tips, send them to us so that we can look at them and then discuss them on the show so that you guys can participate in that conversation as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Oh, she's done. She's ditching.
Good riddance.
Okay. I think she took one more question, but I don't care.
Yeah, Art, this is I think I am going to talk about that child labor story Friday as a national story along with the NASCAR thing here in Chicago. There's a lot of stuff the child labor story could just as easily impact Chicago as well. We don't know what's going on here, but there seems to be like some really fucked up agenda. And the reason that they're hiring more kids in these establishments is because they can't get away with hiring illegals or undocumented workers, and irregular adults are not going to continue working for an unlivable wage. That's why they're transitioning in kids again. Dude, it's like we've gone back in time to the Gilded Age where we had, who could have imagined child labor becoming an issue again in the modern 21st century? It's astonishing.
All right. Okay. That's what I'll switch to. I got a link in, like I said, I have a link in the show notes to the WGN stream where it's got the entire thing, the entire farewell speech and the introductions and stuff. And the dude who sounded like Red Skull from the Marvel movies, who introduced her, the dude with the German accent.
It sounded Heil everyone.
Yeah.
That's what I thought when he started.
And we'll cut over that in a minute, but I just wanted to
authoritarian introducing her, the German authoritarian.
Yeah, but here's how CBS 2 covered it.
An emotional farewell speech from Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot less than a week away from finishing her first and only term in office. CBS 2 political investigator Dana Kosloff was there for the mayor's farewell address. Dana, the mayor is leaving with her head held high.
Yeah, Erica, she talked accomplishments and progress during her 30-minute speech, which...
What was that?
It was a mistake. I accidentally hit a button. Sorry.
Uh-huh. It's hitting buttons. All right, let me back that up.
Sorry about that.
And progress during her 30-minute speech, which wasn't even announced officially until late last night. And she choked up when bringing up how she believed pundits and often the media focused on the wrong things.
My friends, it's been the honor of a lifetime and a privilege.
A farewell sentiment as Mayor Lori Lightfoot enters her last week in office. Her speech at this Austin Community Center
Don't come back
calling
until you've redeemed yourselves.
Your finger slipped, right, Jerry?
That's what I was looking for. I was trying to get ready. So yeah. That's our message to her. Get out.
We're going to be here until 1 a.m.
Her speech at this Austin Community Center, calling the gathering a moment of triumph and celebration.
The mandate that I was given 4 years ago was to break up the status
Mandate? Okay.
quo that failed our residents for far too long.
I'm surprised she didn't complain about the mandate. Shouldn't have been woman date, since she's all about the identity.
I don't know, but like break up the status quo. I don't know.
The chaotic drum line set the tone for what proved
chaotic drum line. That was actually the best part. Was the drums?
Didn't it remind you of? You know what? You know what it reminded us of? Let's go to it.
It
We have
felt
an
like
opportunity
Wakanda.
to
It
one
felt
more
like
time.
Wakanda. Oh. Yeah, I think
Dancing
that
while
might have-
Chicago burns.
Yeah, I'm like I dig the drummers though. I really
Yeah, they
do.
were cool.
They were literally the best part. And I'm not saying it figuratively. I'm saying literally they were the best part of that entire thing was the drums. But it like felt to me like it was out of place.
I resent that, sir. I was the best part of that farewell yesterday. Get it right.
No. But it did feel like they were trying to make it seem like they were passing the torch of the crown of the ruler of Wakanda or something. And I'm like, why did you? I'm like, what are you doing here? What?
You and me both, Lioness Den.
Yeah, the Indiana Jones movie looked pretty good actually.
Proved to be an upbeat speech, a speech that began after the crowd gave Lightfoot a standing ovation.
Standing ovation from sycophants and professional managerial class, and the rest of the room was basically the media, who were happy that they had something really terrible to cover all the time.
These were all this was the elite of Chicago that she served that are all worried now that they're not going to get theirs with Brandon Johnson, as we hope, making things a little bit more equitable. Fingers crossed.
My administration has been victorious in our efforts.
Victorious, she says.
To plant seeds of equity and serve the city.
So victorious, Ed.
Okay.
So victorious, she wasn't reelected.
She said she was victorious in planting seeds of equity. We'd have to talk to some people in different parts of the city. I mean, there must have been a handful of the situations with that Invest Southwest thing that actually helped some people, but most of it were just PR stunts.
Well, I'm concerned with these seeds she planted because I think you said these are things that might pop up in Johnson's administration.
Yeah,
thorns in his ass is what they might turn out to be.
Yeah, like the parking meter deal was that that Rahm decided he wasn't going to even try to undo. And that
Well, I think NASCAR.
NASCAR, the casino, those are seeds.
Oh, dude, she leaned heavy on the casino, and everybody applauded her for it. I'm like, do you know all the problems? We know all the problems that's going to bring to our city. We know all the crime it's going to bring. We know all of the desperate people that it's going to prey upon throughout the city. They're going to go think that, well, Lotto isn't working. Let me go blow what I've got left of my finances in the casino in the hopes that I can better my life. She's just a fucking nightmare. The mess that she's left behind. She was commenting on here as if these are great. The casino is not a great accomplishment. The casino is going to cause so many more problems, as is NASCAR. Although I think we do have an opportunity to get out of NASCAR after the first year, but let's hope Johnson says, yeah, no, this didn't work the first time. So we're not with the right amount of notice. He can pull the plug on him next year.
I honestly, I don't see another NASCAR happening after this year because this is their 75th anniversary. They wanted to do something special for 75.
Yeah, but they've got a 3-year contract, Ed. I think it's a 3-year contract.
I don't understand how they could do this to us 3 years in a row.
She did it to us.
But again,
she did
this is the NASCAR stuff. We'll go into more depth on Friday, I think. There's just too much to cover tonight. So let's get back into this. Oh, wait, I'm on the wrong video.
Well, yeah, Lioness.
Mayor focused on accomplishments like securing more than $2 billion to invest in the city's struggling south and west sides, putting the city on sound fiscal footing and leading through COVID. But she needed to compose.
Now, the putting the city on sound fiscal footing thing, if she's declaring an emergency so she can open up the funds to use to help the migrants, is she affecting that sound fiscal footing? That's just one thing I'm wondering about. Is she basically going to
when addressing?
Sorry, I'm hitting buttons here. Is she going to try to have her cake and eat it too? Where she claims she set up the city financially for Brandon while in the last 6 days emptying out the coffers.
On a side note, before you continue the video, I don't want to dismiss stuff in the live chat. Lioniston, we talked about Palos Paul and this campaign coordinator lawsuit several shows back. So go into our YouTube archive if you want to see our commentary on it. I know it's an ongoing story, and maybe we'll talk about that Friday also, what's continuing with that. But yeah, we're aware of that, and we did do some coverage on it when it broke a few weeks ago.
Yeah, he owes a ton of people money,
and they're picketing in front of his house in Bridgeport, not realizing he's back
his
in
apartment.
His apartment, his apartment.
Yeah, he's not there anymore.
His bachelor pad. He was never there, Ed. He was never there.
Yeah, you're right.
Some of the criticism she's faced these past 4 years.
The four-letter word that propelled me forward every single day of this incredible journey
was dick. And my big one.
I want it.
Lest we ever forget. You dicks, what the fuck were you thinking? You make some kind of secret agreement with the Italians. You're out there measuring your dicks with the Italians, seeing who's got the biggest dicks. You're out there stroking your dicks over the Columbus statue. My dick is bigger than yours and the Italians. I have the biggest dick in Chicago.
I need a second to compose myself. But I watched this earlier today, and as soon as I heard her say the four-letter word, I was like, oh, I got to hit the pause key there, because I know Jerry's going to say.
We lost your video, Ed.
Yeah, I know. I
You're
turned
composing yourself? Okay.
I turned my camera off for a second here. I got to.
This hot bitch, look at Lori, hot bitch. What you want? Come on, cause you better fuck her right, cause I will fuck her to death. Yo, I'ma have, she got a big dick, all right. What's up, Lori? What you want? What's up? You fucking me tonight? You fucking me too?
Four-letter word.
Single day of this incredible journey, one that I intone every time that I needed to rise above the noise and the despair.
You see how she just kind of choked up at the word despair? I have a feeling that there was instructions to get choked up in her notes.
I think the despair that's driving her tears is her despair that she's not in power anymore.
Yeah,
she's going to have to go find another job. And the legacy that, look, I can't, we make fun of her a lot, Ed. Okay. I can't speak to Lori Lightfoot's soul, although I do think she's got very sociopathic tendencies. And to be very fair, okay, she probably thinks she did the best that she could, despite the fact she is sorely, sorely misguided on that. But these tears now, because, she's leaving and she thinks that she's done all these great things, it's just, we can't help but laugh because we're analyzing them from a far more objective standpoint that she apparently does not have the self-awareness to really look at and recognize how much she blundered.
And it's easy for people to get, mean-spirited, especially the way she gets attacked by certain elements of the media and other people on the internet. I mean, we make fun of her because she was the mayor and because she wasn't doing the things she promised to do. And so she was open season for mocking.
I don't want to be, we make a lot of fun of her, right? But it's to the point where, as I'm reflecting on this, I don't want to be cruel. And was there something in her speech that said, here's where you cry? I mean, we can joke about that. I don't think there was, because I want to be, fair about this, but it's just like, lady, no, you blew it. That's why Brandon Johnson was elected as your replacement. So all of these tears and what were you doing at the time?
So you don't think they're crocodile tears?
I think they're tears for what she's lost. I mean, look, she's got a ego. She's got a huge ego, and this is not. It's clearly, look, for anybody in politics to lose, it's a huge. It's a huge blow for their ego, because you have to have a big ego, and you have to have a lot of what's the word? Confidence in yourself to run for office and deflect all of the criticisms and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think let's look at our own personal situations, Ed. If we've been in circumstances where we lost, it's a blow to our ego. It's a blow to our feelings. It's the rejection, right? But there was a lot for her to carry here, that if she can't reflect on why she lost, and all she's focused on is what they shared at this farewell celebration, it's like, what are we celebrating? If she was that great, she wouldn't be leaving now. So all of this stroking to, I don't know what, soothe her rejection on the way out is just so hollow to me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think Kathy brings up an important point in the live chat here.
Yeah, I guess I was just trying to give too much benefit of the doubt, Kathy.
I beg your pardon. What did you say?
Oh wait, let me back up. Hold on.
Yeah, let's get the
word that propelled me forward every single day of this incredible journey. One that I intone every time that I needed to rise above the noise and the despair.
I don't think I've ever seen her cry before. Now it's because she's on her way out, because it's about her.
Yeah, the word what for her was hope. Although we don't think that's the 4-letter word.
No.
That 4-letter word was spelled H-O-P-E.
But Lightfoot, who didn't bring up any mistakes or missteps, believes she helped pave the way for further progress.
Regardless of who comes and goes on the 5th floor, Chicago is going to continue working together.
Mayor Lightfoot didn't take any questions before heading to an invite-only reception. That's pretty much been the practice,
only.
with a
All
few
those
exceptions,
elites.
since losing her bid for a second term on February 28th.
Once again, demonstrating, man. She's in a fucking ivory tower.
I want to flip over to the WGN stream just for a second here, so you guys can hear the dude that sounded like Red Skull from Captain America movie.
He did. Captain America, how very exciting.
Again, good afternoon, everyone.
That's the
we are
Red
trying
Skull.
to start. I see a few people still standing. Jim Reynolds.
Captain America,
Charles
how
Smith.
very exciting.
Please take a seat, Alderman Burnett.
Hi, everyone.
So, my name is Michael Fastnacht. I'm the CEO of World Business Chicago.
Michael Fastnacht, CEO of World Business Chicago, because of course he was.
Because there's a lot of CEOs. I would venture to guess, along with the reporters that were there to cover this was an all CEO event.
That's plausible. CEOs and news people.
Yeah, Andrew, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Was I wrong to try to humanize her? I mean, I don't want to be cruel. We're critical, but it's like, where does our criticism start to go into being cruel? I don't want to be cruel, but it's so easy to
it's really easy to be mean-spirited against public officials or celebrities or anybody. That said, it's like you gotta choose the right time to be critical or to do parody or whatever. And it's like, we're gonna mock her when she needs to be mocked.
Deserves it. And you know what? if Brandon Johnson drops the ball, we're going to do the same thing. We did it with when we were talking about Palos Paul. We've done it in a retrospect with Rom Fuckface Emmanuel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, not yet, Kathy, and I hope never. I hope never. I hope we're well. Look, we don't want to see that happen, but time will tell.
Critical Cruel, best album name ever. I don't know who did that album, or are you just coming up with that title right now, Arturo?
Hey, Art, I miss you. We got to get together for drinks or dinner, and we had an opportunity. By the way, Ed was very gracious, inviting Art and I over for Pizza Saturday. We watched Son of Svengoolie. That was the first time. No, it was the second time we've all gotten together. Art, we got to bring you on the show again. I think you've got some great insights, and one of these nights when you're not drinking, as you referenced earlier, love to have you join us sometime.
Yes, Svengoolie nights are always fun on Saturday. We watched, what was it, the King of the Monsters? No, it was like Destroy All Monsters.
Destroy All Monsters.
That was great.
Then Art departed, and we got a chance to watch Batman 66 and a little bit of Star Trek with my favorite William Shatner.
Sabotage.
You say sabotage. I say sabotage. You say sabotage.
It's true. There was an episode on just yesterday where he said sabotage, and I was like,
everybody thinks
Gary's in the room.
Everybody thinks that leaked audio from the radio booth was him being an asshole, and it's not. He really does say sabotage, and somebody compiled all the instances on Star Trek where he pronounced it sabotage. Because
the one I think that was floating around on the internet is when he was doing voiceovers for the Star Trek cartoon.
Yes,
and the guy who was doing audio for him apparently had not paid close attention to the original series, because that is how he says sabotage.
I guess it's a Canadian accent thing.
And I had the pleasure, honor, and sometimes the pain of working with our great Mayor Lord Lightfoot for the last few years.
Hey, at least he was honest.
Ask, why am I kicking off today's celebration? I think Mayor Lightfoot thought my Germanic accent would put us all in the right seats. And we'll try to focus for the next 60 minutes of some highlights of her tenure, and as well listening to her speech. She promised me it will be less than 28 minutes. Knowing her, it will be probably 42 minutes.
Hey, at least the guy is self-effacing enough to like.
Yes.
I have
no problem.
Yeah, but he does sound like the Red Skull. I hadn't thought that till you brought it up.
Personality was great, but I'm like, why are you putting this guy with the German accent to basically open up your event? I'm like, are you trying to be mocked right now?
Captain America, so very exciting. I got to go back and watch that movie. It's a good one.
Yeah.
By knowing working for her. But I think we all thrilled to bless you all here to celebrate Mayor Lightfoot, her work, her achievements, her time with us, and I'm sure we'll spend some time afterwards as well together to celebrate her.
Yeah. Anyway, I just thought you guys would get a kick out of hearing that guy. I'm like, dude, that's crazy. And
after which she came up and
no, sir, you will stop speaking. You will stop speaking. You're full of crap, and that's the nicest thing that I can say.
No, actually, they went to the preacher guy or whatever, because we can't possibly have separation of church and state, not even in a farewell address.
And I wish that atheist the Satanist who's suing city council because they won't let him do an incantation before a city council meeting. I wish he had been there to give an incantation. Is that in our show notes? Are we covering that?
Did I put that in the show? I put that in our Slack.
I work at Lumideo,
but I didn't
tell you the secret to getting the best deal.
Why is it playing?
He's the guy. He's the guy who should have given the opening. He should have given the opening, the satanic incantation.
No, I had my radar on that story. I don't think I have it in the show notes. No,
all right. For point of reference, really quickly, everybody, there's a Satanist who has petitioned city council numerous times since they've got every other preacher and pastor giving prayers before city council meetings, right? And there is supposed to be a separation of church and state. There's a Satanist who asked city council if he can give an incantation, and they've constantly turned him down. Well, on the basis of he's being unfairly treated, he's now filed a lawsuit against the city. I can't wait to see how that goes, given the fact that they're not giving him the same time that they're giving all of the religious pastors that are opening up city council meetings with prayers. Seems it's only fair. I mean, I'm not an advocate of Satanism by any stretch, but if you're going to be fair with the fairy tales, you need to give equal time, right?
Yeah, I mean, Flying Spaghetti Monster and Cthulhu should get their due as well in the beginning of these meetings. I mean, come on, it's only fair.
That's another story I'll have to put on Fridays, depending on what else happens this week, if we've got time for it.
Yeah, because I mean, some of these stories, these are cool stories, but some of them are breaking stories, and some of them couldn't wait till Friday.
You see, when Ed shared this in the Slack, here's the quick headline from BBM. A satanic minister is suing the city of Chicago for allegedly ignoring his request to deliver an invocation before a city council meeting. And my remark to Ed was, "Oh, I love this story," but unfortunately, we have a lot of stuff to cover. But he should have been the guy to open up Lori Lightfoot's celebration.
Yeah, so here's that fast-knocked guy after the opening prayer or whatever the hell it was.
Years, all the time about police officers, the Bill team here today, and everyone else from the mayor's office as well. And a special warm thank you, this is the last time I can speak here today, to Kelsey and Caitlin, who always do a tremendous job of taking care of all of us.
All of us. Yeah, who's all of us?
Papal Penguin Gaming. I think you're on to something there. However, I have somebody much better to open up a city council meeting.
Well, here I am. I'm debating on whether we should get into any more of this.
Yeah, I mean, I think we got the point. We should move on. We got a lot of stuff. I mean, not that I want to cut you short, Ed, because everything's fine. We're paced good, but there is a lot of stuff to go. I mean, we tend to.
We're at 9 o'clock now.
Yeah, in our mockery of her, we tend to lose track.
Yeah, because I mean, we showed Dana Kozlov. There was also a video of Laura Washington reviewing Lightfoot's tenure. What is her legacy? I'm not going to show that. We're going to get into what's the next things.
We know look. We've been covering her legacy for the past.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I even added some things in the notes. I'm like, what were some of the good things she did? And I'm out of the top of my head were those city grants. I mean, yeah, she wasn't completely responsible for those, but she made sure that money got to DCASE. And a lot of people got relief from that during the lockdowns. I actually got, I think, $5,000 relief check from that because I applied for was it the pandemic?
But didn't that have more to do with the Cook County?
Yeah.
Didn't they have?
No, there was
Cook County than Lightfoot.
Cook County had their own relief programs, and there was also a trial run for basic income, which I didn't qualify for or didn't get. But some people benefited from some of that stuff. So, at least that happened. I'm not saying it's the only one of the good things.
Oh, Papal Penguin Gaming, don't get him started.
Papal Penguin Gaming, why, yes, I do have a website that discusses pizza in Chicago.
We shouldn't have brought that up.
And it's called realdeepdish.com. If you'd like to make your own Chicago-style pizza at home, I have a recipe there for you. It's 100% free. You can download that recipe. There are stories there's articles in there where I give you some tips and tricks. I show you not just how to make deep dish, but I've got instructions on how to make Chicago thin crust, which they just call pizza here, or sometimes thin crust. Some people call it tavern style. It's the most
best.
luxurious.
I can say it's the best pizza The best pizza recipes you'll find online. The best.
Yeah, I got basic instructions. If you like stuffed pizza, you can figure out how to do that.
Ooh, I just thought of something. Too late
yes.
now. I wish somebody had done a custom Lori Lightfoot dummy on eBay
Oh,
for me to have found. Ooh, that would have been great.
Well, yeah, it's kind of too late now.
Too late now.
Anyway, but speaking of pizza, Friday is Pizza de Mayo. Don't forget, head to pizzademayo.com because I own that domain. But it'll take you to realdeepdish.com with links to the stories of past Pizza de Mayos with the different varieties of deep dish pizzas that I made in the past. But you can celebrate Pizza de Mayo anytime in May, but it's usually 1 week after Cinco de Mayo. So Friday, I may actually have some pizza to be eating on the live stream. I don't know if Jerry will be able to participate in my pizza, but if he wants to, maybe I can make some dough for him and let him, and he can, maybe you can pick up and borrow some of my pizza pan equipment and we can both make pizzas at the same time.
I was just double checking and make sure I had the link right. What did you just ask if I could also do?
If you want to bake pizza on Friday at home while I'm baking pizza on Friday at home, I can lend you a pan and a pan gripper, and we can make pizza dough, and just gotta get your ingredients.
How about you prepare it Thursday night and I pick it up and just heat it up show Friday?
We'll see how productive I get. Otherwise, you might just have to order one.
Okay.
For pizza.
Wait, Lioness 10, we just put it in I just put it in the chat. Oh, all right. Well, it's pretty easy to remember. It's realdeepdish.com. Pretty easy. You don't even need to put in the www. Real Deep Dish, because that's what Ed provides. Real Deep Dish.
Yep.
Hey, I see Kira's with us. Hey, Kira.
Oh, is Kira in the live chat?
Yeah, Kira's in the. You've never seen pizza this good. Absolutely.
It's fairly tasty pizza. It's I spent a little more than a decade trying to get the recipe right so that you can make pretty easy deep dish pizza in a home oven. So
it's really quite delicious.
Yeah, and if you happen to live in Chicago and are fortunate enough to live near me, I may actually let you know when I'm making it, and you guys can come over and eat some. Which is what I did for Jerry and Art last Saturday. I said, dude, I'm making pizza. If you want, come over and eat some. That's how it works.
Not something anybody would ever turn down.
Oh, and that's another thing that if you are a Patreon supporter, the next time we have an opportunity to have a barbecue or a pizza night, we may include you in that if you are down. If you want to come, if you're in the area and you can make it for the next event that we have, you're welcome to join us.
There's Ed's website.
So I got, so you head to realdeepdish.com. You click on, I got one article that says click here to start making deep dish. It's basically an introduction. Gives you the basics, some tips and tricks, and a link to the recipe. And then you can look at all the other articles that I haven't written in a while because I've been kind of busy. But
is this guy dedicated to his pizza or what?
And also you can follow Real Deep Dish on Facebook as well. That's where most of the recent pizza photos go. And anytime I'm doing a little research and development, those pizzas end up there, and I tell you what I did. Like if I put special herbs into the dough, and I don't mean special herbs. That would be a completely other show.
Lioness Den, you're going to have to send us your email so we can contact you. But that's it for our pizza segment of the program. Let's get back.
Yeah, we're way off. We're way off into the ditch now in the programs, which is actually normal for a Taco Tuesday. Yeah. But we're going to steer back into
real quickly, Lioness Den.
Yeah.
Yes, everybody who's here, realdeepdish.com. Share it on your social media. Help Ed get the word out. It's all about viral marketing, and viral marketing doesn't happen until all of you little viruses out there share it on your social media.
You just called our viewers viruses, Jerry. But they're the good kind of viruses.
The good kind of viruses. That's right.
Yeah, the ones that provide immunity.
That's right, and links to good pizza.
Yes. Okay. What did I have here? I'm trying to figure out if I'm looking at my show notes. I got a bunch of links for the Lori Lightfoot stuff, and I'm like, okay, which should we talk about any of this? Other than I'll just share one tweet. I got Morgan Elise Johnson from the Tribe saying Mayor Lightfoot's farewell video speech barely mentioned the 2020 uprisings. When she did, she presented it as a quote challenge and did not articulate why there was unrest in the first place. Her policies and re-election campaign focused heavily on increasing police and surveillance.
Yep. Oh, scroll down. But she does not include when framing narratives on her legacy, her resistance to abolitionist policies and protests, raising the bridges, turning sanitation trucks into weapons, raising the police budget, and flip-flopping on the cop academy is her legacy as well. Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah. So there's that. Mad Matt wants to know, do you make thin crust like regular pizza? Yes, Matt, I do.
It's all on the website.
There's a thin crust link as well. I believe it's called Chicago thin crust is a thing.
It's all at the website. You guys can check out.
Yeah, and if you guys want to check out any of my merch, go to edheller.com, and there's a merch page there, so you can buy T-shirts with different kinds of pizza on it. I used to be an artist once upon a time, so I made little art renditions of the 4 different styles of Chicago pizza. And also there's, I think, volcanoes on some of the merchandise. But that's enough of my self-promotion. Jerry, you should self-promote.
I have nothing to self-promote right now.
Jerry has nothing to self-promote right now, but did you know that he invented a thing?
I did.
He invented the Easy Walk sand pad. It's this amazing attachment that you can put on a walker or a crutch, and it helps you. It helps you be more stable using one of those devices on rough terrain or sand or beaches or whatever. It's pretty cool.
I really hope nobody ever has the need for them, like myself. But since we're self-promoting. And I think maybe I should make my Easy Walk pads a sponsor of the show for all the
Which
work.
would probably make a little 15, 20-second ad and just put it in the rotation there in the videos.
I actually have some that I ran on social media a while ago. Why not? Why not go ahead here? Of course, it's not loading. You know what? We're not going to waste time on it. We'll put a little blur.
But post a link to the website though, and then people can watch the ad on there, right?
They could if it loaded here. I don't know why it's not even oh, I'm supposed to wait because of browser. What do we call it? Oh, okay. You know what? Really quickly, it finally loaded. I'll show you really quickly. And I'm going to have to take one of the social media clips. We should be sponsors of the show for all the work I put in here. My company should gain something too. But summer's coming, everybody. So if you are encumbered with cane or crutches, and it's taking forever to load, Ed. I don't want to slow down the show with this.
Just post the website link, Jerry. Well, okay. They can watch it later. Or we can always get it ready to go on Friday.
I've got the spinning beach ball of death. It's not even letting me post it in the.
So, yeah.
Okay, here we go.
And Jerry's spinning beach ball of death is brought to you by P.L. Sullivan's International Chicken Wing and Currency Exchange. Behind that one alley, you know the one.
It's not loading. We'll do it later. Let's continue with the program.
Okay,
oh, now it loads. Now that I dismiss it, now it loads. All right, here we go. Real quick.
I love technical
There you go, everybody.
issues.
So if you are encumbered with using your cane or crutches and are challenged on uneven terrains, you can order the Easy Walk sand pad from easywalkpads.com. It basically broadens your base of stability at the bottom of a cane or crutch and will make your mobility and recreational activities much more. Did it even load?
Yeah, it's up.
Oh, it's up. It's not. I'm not seeing it on this time. It's a buffering issue. So there you go. You can check it out at easywalkpads.com. All right, enough of that. Let's get on with the rest of the show. I'm going to take it down.
Okay, and speaking of the tribe, since we just recently featured the co-founder in a tweet, why is the state's attorney's office hiding ShotSpotter evidence? And this comes from Matt Chapman and Ed Vogel from the tribe. Cook County State's Attorney's Office has routinely hidden evidence from defendants that was obtained from ShotSpotter, a gunshot detection system, according to Brendan Max, the chief of the Forensic Science Division at the Cook County Public Defender's Office. The State's Attorney's Office pattern of failing to inform defendants about how ShotSpotter determines noises are gunshots is similar to the 2020 case in which a man was falsely charged with murder based on a ShotSpotter alert.
Do you know, in regards to, just really quickly, let me interject, the shooting this week of that young police officer, apparently ShotSpotter heard the shots related to her murder, and they didn't respond until 30 minutes later. That's how effective ShotSpotter is.
Yeah, and actually the only reason why they even responded was because she had an Apple Watch that sent out a 911. That's another part of the story. I think, and there may actually be in the article or the video that I was going to cover in a minute, but just want to get through part of this article here about ShotSpotter because
it relates.
Okay, yeah. Okay. In 2020, Max defended Michael Williams, who had been charged with the murder based on scant evidence that largely hinged on an alert from ShotSpotter. Williams had offered a ride to a young man during the May 2020 citywide unrest in the wake of the police murder of George Floyd. As they approached an intersection, another car pulled up beside them, and its passenger fired a shot that missed Williams and killed the young man riding in the car with him. Williams drove him to a hospital, but the man died. 3 months later, police developed a theory that Williams was the shooter, and they arrested him for murder. Their theory was based on a combination of surveillance video that showed Williams' car at 63rd and Stony Island and a ShotSpotter alert that said a gunshot was heard in that exact location at that exact time. But the evidence against Williams wasn't anywhere near that straightforward. ShotSpotter uses a network of microphones to detect loud noises that a computer algorithm analyzes to determine whether the sound is a gunshot. If the algorithm says the noise is a gunshot, a human technician reviews the noise and decides in under a minute whether the computer was correct and dispatches police to the location of the noise. In 2021, Chicago's Inspector General found that ShotSpotter alerts, quote, rarely produce evidence of a gun-related crime, and that CPD uses the frequency of alerts in a given area to rationalize disproportionately stopping and frisking people who live there. That, combined with the fact that ShotSpotter's microphones are overwhelmingly placed in Black and Latino communities, has led activists and community members to call for Chicago to cancel its contract with the company. However, Mayor Lori Lightfoot quietly extended the contract twice.
Quietly?
Yes.
Why would she be?
Is that why she feels victorious?
And I'm sure her campaign got a little kickback for that too.
Most recently in October 2022, extended to February 2024. Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson has pledged to end it. ShotSpotter, which recently changed its name to Sound Thinking, because that worked really well for International Harvester.
ShotSpotter, that's one for the bingo card. I'm actually going to open up a little list here to put stuff down.
Is notoriously secretive about the inner workings of its noise classification process, and technicians can and do reclassify noises after the fact. That's what led up to police charging Williams with murder. The night of the shooting, ShotSpotter's algorithm initially classified a noise as a firework, Jerry. But a technician reclassified it as a gunshot. Now that's hinky, right?
Right. Hey, since as Ed reads this, everybody, I want everybody in the live chat, okay, to submit something in the live chat, something Brandon Johnson ran on and promised that we hope he fulfills, because I'm going to take what you post there and put it on a list so we can create our mayoral bingo card.
Good. Oh,
and
good.
see if,
I'm glad you're doing that, Jerry,
doing it
because
right
I got
now.
my hands full right now.
You do. I just put ShotSpotter on because it's like he said he's going to get rid of it. Okay, right off the bat, it's like if that's what he said, let's keep track of that. I don't remember what his stance is on a public bank, and
that was one of the things we were going to ask him about if he had ever made it on our show.
So everybody in the chat, if there's something that you recall Brandon Johnson promised that spoke to you in supporting him, I'd like you to post in the chat so we can add it to our mayoral bingo card.
Yeah, so let me read this paragraph again. That's what led up to police charging Williams with murder. The night of the shooting, ShotSpotter's algorithm initially classified a noise as a firework.
I heard that. Oh, you know what, Kathy? Why are you getting mad? We're hoping that we're going to check these things off on the bingo card as things he actually follows through on. That's the point of the mayoral
getting
bingo.
mad over his ShotSpotter, maybe.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
I was getting mad.
I understand. I mean, look, we've covered stories about ShotSpotter in the past, but this one's fresh, and I thought it's good to have a perspective on this. This is a really important paragraph here because the algorithm initially classified the noise as a firework, but a person reclassified it as a gunshot. And that's what they used in court. It says Max and Williams weren't aware of the reclassification until Max subpoenaed ShotSpotter months later. He said the state's attorney's office, which was prosecuting the case, should have told them about it up front. Yes, they should have. Because then that should have been inadmissible. Or at least it should have been stated to anyone in the jury or to the judge that ShotSpotter notification had been reclassified. Quote, I was shocked to learn that ShotSpotter's algorithm had classified the noise as fireworks, not gunfire, that ShotSpotter was aware of this fact all along, and that neither ShotSpotter nor the state's attorney's office disclosed this fact, despite an legal and ethical obligation to do so at any time during Michael's case, Max told the tribe. After Williams spent nearly a year in Cook County Jail awaiting trial, prosecutors admitted they had insufficient evidence, and a judge dismissed the case against him.
What else is new?
Williams has filed a federal lawsuit with help from Northwestern University's MacArthur Justice Center. Yeah, so now he's suing the state's attorney's office. So I don't know if I need to cover any more of this, but I just thought
we got the point.
I think we got the gist of that. So that is just one example of why ShotSpotter needs to go.
How ineffective ShotSpotter is, along with all the blue light cameras across. I've always said this in the past. Isn't it interesting how well the red light cameras work and how badly the blue light cameras work? Because the blue light cameras, along with ShotSpotter, that are supposed to be able to help the police analyze and solve crimes and stuff, doesn't seem to be doing its job as well as the red light cameras that send out tickets to people around parks or intersections to collect money for the city.
And speaking of shots, half of Chicagoans witness a shooting by age 40 study found. Half.
I just had a dream last night, Ed, that you just completely jogged my memory, that I got shot during a holdup. It's coming back. You know how it's like you have a dream and you
it
don't
was a
remember if you wake
dream
up?
or was it a memory?
No, I had no, you're just triggering me that I dreamt last night that I was shot during a robbery. Interesting. Anyway.
You ever have that where you don't remember your
No.
dreams until somebody says something and you're like, oh, I just dreamed
Oh.
about that the other night.
Yeah, I rarely remember my dreams unless I eat something really interesting the night before. And then I'm like, what the hell was that? Yeah, so half of Chicagoans witness a shooting by age 40, study found. Over half of Black and Latino survey respondents and a quarter of white respondents had seen a shooting by age 40, according to the study published Tuesday in the Journal of the American Medical Association. This comes to us from the Sun-Times from Michael Loria. More than half of Chicagoans will witness a shooting by age 40, according to a study published Tuesday, and the numbers look even worse when broken down by race. Over half of Black and Latino study participants, compared to 1/4 of white participants, had witnessed a shooting by that age, according to the study. Results of the study, published in the Journal of American Medical Association, were released Tuesday. Why do they keep repeating this? Okay. We expected levels of exposure to gun violence to be high, but not this high. Our findings are frankly startling and disturbing, said the study's author, Charles Landfear, an assistant professor at University of Cambridge's Institute of Criminology. A substantial portion of Chicago's population could be living with trauma as a result of witnessing shootings and homicides, often at a very young age. Yeah, I'm not shocked by that. And hopefully we'll be able to start changing that for the next generation. It says the average age for witnessing a shooting was just 14 years old. Women were only slightly less likely than men to witness shootings, though men were far more likely to get shot. For the study, more than 2,000 Chicagoans were tracked for 25 years, from childhood and adolescence in the 90s to the start of middle age. The study continued tracking participants who moved away from the city, although the vast majority of gun violence incidents that were witnessed occurred in Chicago. Not all participants witnessed a shooting either. Many were victims. Well, so then they witnessed their own shooting. So, among Black and Latino participants, about 7% had been shot by age 40, compared to 3% of white participants. The average age for being shot was 17. The study also compared the locations of gun violence in recent years. Rates of shootings within a 250-meter radius of where Black participants lived were over 12 times higher than for areas around the homes of white participants. I hear an ad rolling on your end, Jerry. Rates of shootings near the Latino participants' homes were about 4 times higher than white participants. Living in such proximity to gun violence likely takes a cumulative physiological toll on Chicago citizens, researchers argued. The long-term stress of exposure to firearm violence can contribute to everything from lower test scores for school kids to diminished life expectancy through heart disease, Landfear said. Was that the end of the article?
Looks like it.
I think that might have been the end of the article. Yeah. No, I just jumped too far ahead. The long-term and diffuse impacts of gun violence are part of the reason why the Chicago Department of Public Health is considering it the next public health issue to tackle in the wake of COVID, said Matt Richards, an agency's deputy commissioner for behavioral health. Gun violence exacerbates 2 of the 5 drivers of the racial life expectancy gap, Richards says, referring to the notorious life expectancy gap between Black and white Chicagoans, while also being one of the 5. The 2 others are substance abuse overdose and chronic disease. Well, gee, I mean, let's see. If we improve everybody's material conditions, make sure everyone has a roof over their head, has equity, reasonable opportunities, and the proper social and community supports, a lot of these things go away. If we had a national healthcare system, even more. So I'm not shocked by this, but it's interesting to see that half of people in Chicago have been witness to or victim of gunshots by age 40.
And on a national scale, we've all witnessed gun violence as we've been following what just happened in Texas with the white supremacist who decided to go apeshit in the mall.
Yeah, so here they go. At the end of the article, it says, in response, Richard said the department advocated for a root cause investment in things such as affordable housing, economic neighborhood development, transportation infrastructure, and public schools, as well as community efforts such as violence interrupters and vacant lot beautification initiatives. Quote, effective policing is one part of a much larger comprehensive approach.
Root cause investment. Where have we heard that, Ed?
Here, for one of many places. We talk about it all the time.
Really? All the time? Why isn't anybody listening? Beyond our wonderful viewers in the live chat.
Well, we only have about 1,600 subscribers over here on the tubes, Jerry. We only have so much reach. So, if you like this content, you like this show, if you can't afford to be a Patreon supporter, that's okay. We're all pretty much broke. But what you could do, a real big favor for us would be hit the like button on every video you see and watch. Let people know that we exist. Tell other people about us. Share the stream on all of your social media things. Tell your family, hey, did you guys get to see the latest episode of Chicago Corner? Did you know that they're on Tuesday and Friday nights at 7:30 p.m.? Yes! I knew that they were on Tuesday and Friday nights at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. And even if you don't get to watch them live and participate in the live chat, you could watch afterwards and leave comments and nasty snide remarks.
as a lot of, I think we've got a lot of hate watchers, Ed. I've noticed in the comments on YouTube. A few.
Yeah, why don't you guys talk about this? Well, we probably already did.
Yeah.
Or, maybe you should talk about that on your own live stream. Since you seem to have a bug up your butt about it, whatever it was.
Because y'all think it's just so easy.
So yeah, I mean, look, we got jobs and lives here. We would love to make this a full-time gig, but we know that right now it's not realistic. So we appreciate everyone who supports us and tunes in and everything. But it's like, when I'm not working, I'm trying to, do the research for what we're going to do on the show. I know Jerry's doing the same thing. So we're gathering up stories for the week. We check the internet. We're following the news as a lot of you do. Sometimes we follow it a little closer just because we try to have our finger on the pulse of all the stuff that's happening. It's how we ended up beating Block Club on a story by a whole week.
Which one was that? I forgot.
The Alder Mort Gardner story about the $5,000 thing. We covered that last Tuesday. They just posted a story for that today.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. I mean, sometimes we're on top of those things before other people are. Other times we're just giving our takes on the stories that we see, and that's fine too. I mean, we got opinions. We're from Chicago. If you're not from Chicago, you don't have opinions.
Lioness,
that came out wrong.
She shared it on her ScrewTube community tab. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing us on ScrewTube.
And also make sure to share on Facebook. Art shares in regards to the gun violence. The Texas Mall Massacre will be a footnote for the next shooting, which you can now predict with 100% accuracy without ShotSpotter. That's true, Art. Unfortunately.
Yeah. And I should probably bring this video up just because, it's important to have just a basic coverage of this, although every other local media outlet has been covering this. But if you stand by, I got to wait for pre-roll Ed to finish before I can bring the video up. So hold on a minute.
Okay.
Okay. Now we got developing stories here.
Developing story we continue to watch this afternoon. At least 3 people are in custody in connection with the murder of Chicago police officer Ariana Preston.
Horrible story.
The Chicago Police Headquarters as that investigation continues. Julian.
Well, Lourdes and Ben, new developments. WGN News has learned that Chicago police detectives have released 2 of the 5 individuals they were questioning, but no word at this hour on any possible criminal charges. This as we learn new details about the response to this weekend's deadly shooting that claimed the life of a brilliant and dedicated young woman who only wanted to help others.
495.
Police scanners in the early morning hours Saturday responding to what appears to be a 911 alert from an iPhone in the direct vicinity of where a mortally wounded Ariana Preston was found on the south side.
95 is an auto accident coming from an Apple Watch, 8155 South Blackstone, 8155 Blackstone Apple Watch.
The CPD dispatcher on the recording describing how a shot spotter detected gunfire in the same area. Patrol officers responded.
30 minutes earlier, though, I think it was.
Yeah, they kind of glossed over the part that they didn't actually respond to the initial. I mean, so like they want to tout and use ShotSpotter when it's convenient for them, but apparently they didn't even think to consider that maybe they needed to respond to that one.
I want to toss
until the Apple Watch alert came in.
I want to toss something else in I saw on social media that's probably going to come across as being very controversial. So I'm going to warn all of you ahead of time. Jerry's going to get controversial here. But I saw a lot of tweets asking young black woman police officer, where's Black Lives Matter on this? Now, clearly, they're leaning on that because she's a police officer. She's law enforcement. But you know what, Ed? They do have a point.
Yeah, but they're asking it in bad faith.
Yes, they are. But do you know how that could be countered in good faith?
Sure.
For Black Lives Matter to say, yeah, this woman's life mattered as well, regardless of whether she was a cop or not.
I mean, they go
was an interesting thing I saw.
Yeah.
It's like normally these people don't give a shit about Black Lives Matter, who are now saying, well, where's Black Lives Matter when it's a police officer? Well, they should be out for a police officer, but don't use it in bad faith to dismiss what Black Lives Matter is actually about, because we haven't taken Black lives seriously or that they've mattered much prior to this moment that was inflamed and ignited with George Floyd's murder, right? So anyway, I thought that was interesting to examine from both sides.
Raising questions about how long it took for police and EMTs to respond to the deadly shooting.
Oh, there it is.
Officer Ariana Preston suffering multiple gunshot wounds in what detectives believe was an armed robbery just outside her Avalon Park home.
I wonder if they knew her.
5 individuals still in.
No, it sounded to me like it was a wrong place, wrong time situation. Okay. And apparently the armed robberies it was happening in that area. And some of them were arrested for other events around the same time.
Okay.
In police custody today after a tense SWAT team encounter Sunday night on the 7600 block of South Bishop Street.
I think she saw herself as someone who could both overcome challenges and help other people.
Professor Sarah Block with the Loyola University School of Law describing her prized pupil who'd hoped to join the FBI trying to solve sex crimes. Preston's professors and classmates during Zoom calls, sometimes seeing her in uniform in her patrol car.
They saw her as a bright light, and she expressed real excitement about her future.
Preston set to graduate this weekend with a master's degree in jurisprudence.
It's awful,
Instead,
man.
the university sending her diploma to grieving loved ones.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate because it sounds like she was going to be one of the good cops who was totally into reform.
Yeah.
And she would have been on board with anything that Brandon Johnson wanted to do. it kind of I have a Sun-Times article here. I'm not sure how much of it we want to read, but
Oh, why not? If it goes more in, no, I think we should.
It basically yeah, it's worth. I mean, this is from the Sun-Times editorial board, and they actually covered it pretty well.
I think we should definitely honor her.
Slain officer had so much to offer. Not only did a family lose a loved one, but the city lost a Chicago police officer, Ariana Preston, an intelligent, thoughtful, and accomplished officer who exemplified the possibility of transforming the CPD for the better. It has only been a few days since off-duty Chicago police officer Ariana Preston was shot to death near her Avalon Park home, so questions surrounding her slaying remain unanswered. Law enforcement sources told the Sun-Times Preston's shooting may have been tied to another robbery in the area, but authorities have yet to provide an official motive. Well, it sounds like it's a developing story.
They're investigating. They don't want to tip potential perps off that they're onto something. So.
And then here they're also saying about how there was no explanation given why it took more than a half hour for the officers to arrive at the scene. I wanted to get down to the part where they actually talk about her, though. While the city awaits answers and possible charges tied to the 5 people taken into custody, turns out they let 2 of those people go so apparently only 3 currently under suspicion. One thing is clear. Chicago lost another promising young officer to the gun violence that has tattered our country and perpetually looms around all of us. Preston, 24, had just finished her shift when she was gunned down. Her weapon was taken away from her during the incident, sources said. Had she still been alive, Preston would have been handed her diploma for her master's degree in criminology at Loyola University Chicago this coming weekend. The Calumet district officer yearned to create an impact and show her young peers how policing can make a difference in the community, according to her father and Charles Bell, a professor at Illinois State University, where Preston received a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and law enforcement administration. Oops, I jumped ahead here. Hold on. Scrolling is acting like a jumping jack here, so I'm just going to use my keyboard. Apology for the clicks while I scroll down on this story. Too often we hear about the blue wall of silence when an officer is accused of wrongdoing and the strong resistance from within police departments against changing the dysfunctional culture that has cultivated and sustained fear and distrust. Preston, who had been on the job for just 3 years, wasn't among this resistant, skeptical bunch. She was dissatisfied with the status quo and was ready for reform. Those closest to her said, Preston's goal was to build trust between law enforcement and underrepresented communities. She was quoted in an Illinois state write-up after she and others visited several Holocaust sites during an overseas college visit. That trip, which Preston defined as finding voices for those who didn't have a voice, motivated her to join the Chicago Police Department. It is now up to Preston's colleagues to honor her words, working with Chicagoans, especially Black and brown residents, not against them. Not only did a family lose a loved one, the city lost in Preston an intelligent, thoughtful, and accomplished officer who exemplified the possibility of transforming CPD for the better.
Reminds me of Ella French, who Chicago also lost last year. Was it last year or the year before?
It was a couple of years.
Yeah.
And she was, she was the one who
stood up for
Anjanette Young. Yeah. Yep. And then she got admonished for it.
Of course.
But then, and then she was, she got shot. I think it was a hit and run. Was it like a drive-by?
Yeah.
I think something like that.
I think that's what it was.
Sad. Hopefully there are more people like her, because we're going to need a sea change, a paradigm shift.
And I think there are. Just not enough yet. We have a friend of the show who's a Chicago police officer who I have a lot of admiration for and faith in, and I just wish and hope there are more officers like him, as I've had conversations with him, that share a lot of the reform-minded attitude and direction that Ella French and Ariana Preston seem to look towards serving in that direction.
So, all right. So, I don't have much more to say about that, other than just acknowledging that we lost a good one, and it's a sad day for the entire city.
Our condolences go out to the family, her friends and family, and yeah, the whole city lost big on this one.
Yeah. So we're going to move on to another story. We always cover the stories about lead in the water here on Chicago Corner. It's brought to you by Chicago.
Now, 88.1 billion. What was it?
1,100 parts per billion.
Yeah, 1,100 parts per billion. That's right.
An Illinois law required schools to test water for lead. They found it all over the state. This comes from the Chicago Tribune. And we've known this for a while.
Yeah. I just put this on my list of things to do. I'm going to have to edit together a Chicago promo.
Yes, and I'll be happy to lend a voiceover to that
Yeah,
anytime.
you think I'm going to do it? I don't have the pipes for that. That's all you. We'll write it and I'll cut it.
1,100 parts per billion. Get it all in one can. The Chicago can.
And we can also pay tribute to Lori Lightfoot for that brilliant marketing strategy.
I mean, the art on the cans was Look,
even though she's
art,
leaving.
yeah, we got talented artists in the city. The art on the cans is beautiful. I'm just saying, it's really bad optics in a city that we know has lead in the water. I mean, they barely scratched the surface on changing out all the water mains and the pipes and everything in the city.
It's finally happening, but after Lightfoot delayed it.
I mean,
we reported on this a week ago. 2
Yeah.
weeks, I think. Yeah.
Most Illinois public school districts have tested sinks and fountains for tiny traces of brain-damaging lead, as required by a 2017 state law. Had to tell parents they found the toxic metal quietly lurking in the children's drinking water. Now, I'm just going to pause really quick just to remind everybody that the NSF, the National Sanitation Foundation, in 2020, they lowered the standard from 10 parts per billion to 5 parts per billion. And I think most of Chicago's water is just hovering at 5 or more.
Do you know something interesting I found out about how you can really understand the quality of a municipality's water? I never knew this before. Look at your frozen ice cubes. We're all used to the fact that they've got all that white in the center. Actual clean water ice cubes would be clear. They wouldn't have all that cloudy whiteness in the middle of them.
Well, yeah. Well, some of it's air also, but
Yeah, but not all of it though. You can find I mean, I guess go make ice cubes out of bottled water and see how they turn out. They'll be different. I would hope that. Actually, I haven't done that experiment, but I have seen clear ice cubes. And when I'm so used to seeing the cloudy ice cubes that we have here in Chicago, it has to do with the contamination in the water.
Or a dirty water filter in your fridge dispenser. I've noticed that when I change to a new filter, my ice cubes get more clear.
Well, I don't have an ice cube machine. I just pour them at the sink into my trays.
Okay.
Put them in the freezer. Yeah.
Are you using a filter on your tap? No. Or are you taking it straight out of Lake Michigan?
Straight out of Lake Michigan.
Okay. All right. Well, I salute you.
Look, I mean, look,
That's right. There's nothing that
57 years of Chicago Lake Michigan water. You're listening to it right here.
Plus, you're unkillable.
That's true. I'm not that easy to kill. We know that.
He's not that easy to kill. According to a Tribune analysis of state data, more than 1,800 of the roughly 2,100 public schools that submitted test results identified some amount of lead in their drinking water. That includes more than 1,350 schools where at least one water sample had lead levels exceeding 5 parts per billion, the threshold where parental notification is required. But despite the widespread nature of the problem and the threat lead poses to young brains, even in small amounts, the state's efforts to curtail lead in school drinking water mostly ended there. The Illinois Department of Public Health, the state agency tasked with overseeing the law, did not make the statewide testing results public. Gee, I wonder why that is. And it offered schools conflicting guidance on what steps they should take after finding elevated levels in their drinking water. Hey, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's just it's only 5 parts per, or maybe 10, possibly 1,100 parts per billion. Don't worry about it. That should be that's a new city model. Chicago. Don't worry about it. You don't really realize it could be an issue as an educator, said Kankakee School District 111 Superintendent Ginevra Walters, after water testing identified traces of lead at each of the district's 11 buildings, including 6 schools with fixtures where water lead levels exceeded 1,000 parts per billion. 1,000.
Crazy, man.
We're focused on education. We're not necessarily focused on the facilities as much as we should. You shouldn't have to be.
Right?
As the public health department stumbled in its oversight efforts, the law itself also posed barriers to finding and eliminating lead in school drinking water statewide. Illinois legislators carved out major testing exemptions in the law, including schools serving students in 6th grade and up. What? So 6th graders get to drink all the leaded water they want? That's not fair to the 1st through 5th graders, as well as those in buildings constructed after 1999. Come on! Why? Isn't this supposed to be the best country, the most advanced country in the world?
Dude,
we can't even have clean drinking water.
We're an empire in decline, though. That's what everybody's losing sight of.
I mean, but even Rome had aqueducts, though, Jerry. I mean, sanitation. Come on, that's a no-brainer, really. Schools in these categories that voluntarily tested their drinking. See, they had to voluntarily test. Some schools probably didn't test because they didn't want to know.
Yeah. Of course not.
Voluntarily tested their drinking water, sometimes found elevated lead levels according to testing data obtained by the Tribune. Schools were instructed to test their drinking water just once before the end of 2018 by taking 2 samples from each fixture. Experts who study lead contamination warn that the amount of lead leaching from internal pipes can vary widely based on water temperature, water pressure, frequency of use, and other factors. Dozens of schools that conducted more than one round of testing identified lead issues that had not surfaced in earlier sampling, state and district levels, data show.
Archers, Rome had roads. We had the internet.
Yeah, Rome's roads are still there. Our roads are riddled with potholes.
Thanks, Art. I appreciate that comment because, as you know,
well, I'm not so easy to kill.
It's true. So let's just say that Jerry is very much for reforming the public transportation system.
I don't take it anymore. Although I'm not adverse to it. It's just lucky I've got a car. I don't have to rely on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Neither does Dorval Carter.
Good point.
We covered that in last Tuesday, I think it was.
We cover a lot of stuff here, ladies and gentlemen. It's all on our YouTube channel.
Yes. The law did not require districts to take action to reduce elevated lead levels, and state funding was not available to aid schools that wanted to do so. And yet we have billionaires living in our state.
Of course.
And okay. As a result, district responses to finding lead varied greatly, Tribune reporting revealed. Some districts spent millions on additional testing and plumbing work in efforts to reduce lead in the water, while others took little action. And that's because if they had actually tested and determined that there was lead in the water, then they'd have to actually spend money that they don't have on it, because our states and our federal governments don't give a crap about fixing that stuff. All right. I think we're near the end of what I wanted to cover on that. Though the law requires schools that found elevated lead levels to notify parents, many of the test results are not available on districts' websites. Tribune obtained the testing data from the state and is publishing it so parents and community members can explore the results. So maybe somebody will raise a stink finally, enough to get something done about it.
Well, look, as we reported previously, they are finally replacing the water main pipes, or the pipes going away from the water main, but they're sorely behind on this. This should have started years ago, and Lightfoot delayed it. So, I mean, this is just another layer to the whole problem with lead in our water.
Yeah. So, moving on. That's not it. Wait, is that the one? Yeah, that's the one. Yesterday began what the National Association of Letter Carriers does, I believe, every year. The Letter Carriers Food Drive. And it's called Stamp Out Hunger, and you'll see a lot of places that have the family circle advertisements on there, or you might have letter carriers walking around wearing T-shirts that look like that. I used to work at a T-shirt shop that made some of those. It's pretty cool shirt if you can get one. But it's this is the food drive that they do with the food depositories wherever they're located, with each local letter carrier union.
Because in America, we don't have enough food to go around. We have to have food drives.
So what the deal is, let me see. Do I have the actual article here? Yeah, let me bring the article up here from CBS2. The USPS Stamp Out Hunger Food Drive starts this weekend, which is Saturday the 13th.
There's the post office doing something good.
Yes, and what you can do is, if they have in the thing here we go. Okay. Why you just took my story away from me? Why did you do that?
I took it. Oh, you mean
no? I'm talking to my computer because I am angry at inanimate objects constantly.
Computer.
Hello, computer.
Hello, computer.
This is infuriating, CBS. You gotta fix your website.
It's a reference to.
Yeah, it was from Star Trek 4.
The voyage.
They travel. Yeah, they traveled around the sun to travel back in time to the 1980s.
And Scotty was caught in the 1980s, and he started addressing the computer, and he was told, no, you need to use the mouse to type stuff into the computer. So he grabbed the mouse and said, "Hello, computer."
Then it says, "Just use the keyboard."
We love.
Okay, I'm having issues with these freaking pop-up ads, and
yeah, I know.
I want to strangle CBS right now.
It's just intolerable, the amount of pop-ups.
Okay. All right. Anyway, I was trying to read that. Here we go. Postal carriers across the nation aren't just delivering mail this week; they are fighting hunger. 31st annual Stamp Out Hunger Food Drive kicks off this weekend. Customers are asked to leave bags containing non-perishable food items next to their mailboxes this Saturday. So you don't even have to go to a drop-off point. You can just, wherever your normal mail drop-off mailbox is. For a lot of people, you can just leave a bag of canned foods like you would for a food drive anywhere. The letter carriers will collect the donations and distribute them to local food banks. Over the last 30 years, the drive has collected nearly 2 billion pounds of food. So this is a good deal. This is a good thing. Your postal carriers are doing this because they want to do this. They're not doing this because they have to do this. So you should support the United States Postal Service workers. And whenever possible, you should yell at Congress to make sure that they're properly supported moving forward.
Can I speak on that?
Yeah.
The Ravenswood Post Office on Lawrence and Western. One postal carrier behind the desk amongst a panel of 5 service windows. This poor woman, line out the door, and every time I go in there, I'm like, you're doing a remarkable job. I feel and they don't even have air conditioning in there. They've got like a huge fan going, and I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, they're just not giving the local stations enough money to operate. And I mean, it's so sad. At one point I'm like, I have a problem with surly postal carriers because I have encountered some in some post offices, but it's really, becoming clear to me the reason they're surly is because they've got no support from the top. And that's what's his name, Louis DeJoy.
The Postmaster General.
Yeah, the Postmaster General who wants to privatize it, who's cutting off funds to the all of the different post offices, making the conditions to work just intolerable. They're doing a good thing here, so I salute them.
Yeah, so that was that story. Let's go on to, I believe this is going to be our last story of the evening.
Before it's dinner time for Jerry.
And you guys remember those college kids that had that one cow running loose that we reported on? Was it a week ago or two?
Yeah, a week ago. It was a breaking story.
Yeah, so apparently they decided that they got to name it.
Of course, because of course they do.
I don't know why, but I was thinking. Hold on a second. I was thinking. I had thoughts on this, but I don't know why I can't remember. Hey, Jerry, you guys talking about cows on this show?
Ladies and gentlemen from the great beyond, it's Pegleg Sullivan and Bessie.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, Bessie, I know that you want to talk about this story too, but you got to let these guys get a word in edgewise. It's their show. We're just ghosts. By the way,
the great beyond of 1871, after setting the Great Chicago Fire, it's Pegleg Sullivan and Bessie.
No, you know damn well I was exonerated from that. Bessie didn't do it. It was those Connors hooligans who nobody even knows about. But there was this article in Irish newspaper that really covered the entire deal. They were talking about all the people involved in the thing, and it was some hooligans. I think they were at like a party that was happening that night, although we know a whole bunch of fires were going on around then.
Well, we've always, seen blame laying at the feet of Mrs. O'Leary and Bessie. But then, hello, Bessie. But then it came out that Pegleg hung out in the barn, which is what led me to believe that.
Well, I mean, look, it was my responsibility to take care of the O'Leary's cows and our own family's cows, Bessie. And so, at the same time, I spent a bit of time in the barn just because I had been working on the secret formula to chocolate milk cows.
Right.
Which very few people know. In fact, most people feel it's still kind of a rumor, but, I can't really talk about the ins and outs of it because there's still trademarks pending.
I know that if we don't move into this ABC7 report, I'm going to completely lose sleep without knowing what they named
I'm actually I'm curious now.
The votes
The
are
Niles
in
heifer.
for the new name for the cow that took Chicagoland by storm.
That's right. So the people have spoken, and this is Blossom. Remember this from last month? The cow was at the center of a senior prank that happened in suburban Niles, but is
Poor
now
cow.
at the Hooved Animal Humane Society in Woodstock. So the society held a naming contest on Facebook. It happened earlier today and said it is now screening owners to find Blossom a forever home. Watch.
Do you know that this stunt?
Did you say Blossom?
Blossom. You know what, Pegleg? This stunt, I'm guessing, saved Blossom from becoming Hamburger.
Yeah, I
We
just
gotta bet.
don't. I don't
You're upset.
understand. I don't understand why they named the cow after that kid from the TV
Yeah,
show.
because she's not a cow. She was a very lovely young lady.
No, yeah, Mayim Bialik, she was a really talented actor. I think she's like a scientist or something now.
Mm.
It's kind of impressive, actually.
Well, thank goodness that Blossom the cow was saved from the slaughterhouse, probably as a result of all of the media exposure she got from this Niles High School prank.
Yeah, and I was just wondering, Jerry, do you guys ever have pizza parties? Because like we're on the ethereal plane, and sometimes we have those ethereal barbecues, but for some reason they can't figure out how to do a pizza party out here.
I nor do I.
Yeah, maybe it's a living person thing. I don't know. It's just kind of weird and
Well, if anybody's going to come up with ghost pizza, it's going to be the guy who was trying to revolutionize the process for chocolate milk cows. So I'm sure we'll hear about that in the future.
Yeah, I still like I said, we got trademarks pending, so I can't say too much about it right now, but chocolate milk cows exist.
Do you know, I would imagine that you need to get with my colleague, Ed Heller, and basically perhaps discuss the possibility of being a spokesperson for his own brand of deep dish pizza. Pegleg Sullivan's Real Deep Dish.
Oh, I don't know. I think you might have a problem with that, Jerry.
Why?
Because he doesn't want to share the profits with a ghost, man.
If our colleague...
Dude, did you have Pegleg talking about pizza again?
Ending, Ed. Pegleg Sullivan's Real Deep Dish Chicago.
Oh, that's a long name though.
But it. Hey, what do you think of when you think of Chicago? You think of the Great Chicago Fire caused by Pegleg Sullivan. You think it's Chicago.
Well,
pizza?
Pegleg would have a problem with that since he's been recently exonerated.
So you say.
Well, so he says. He emailed me the article. I'm like, dude, how did you get email? He's like, dude, we're in the ethereal plane. We got everything here except good pizza parties.
Dude, Pegleg Sullivan's Real Deep Dish Chicago.
Yeah.
You've got the branding and the logo of Pegleg with Bessie right there. The cheese comes from the cows.
Yeah.
How much more perfect can I frame it?
Yeah, no, if we could make a chocolate milk deep dish pizza, that would be something.
And Andrew even says,
something
hell, what
weird.
does a ghost need money for? Just go with it.
Yeah, I don't know either. But it's something to do with cryptocurrency, I'm sure. It's just how that works. Anyway, thank you all for joining us this evening on a really weird...
or necrocurrency.
Oh, I might have had that backwards. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on a really weird and eventful Taco Tuesday. And I want to thank my co-host, Jerry Vasilatos, for joining me. Come back and watch us on Friday at 7:30 p.m. Central Time, where Jerry will steer the boat back out of the ditch. And we will probably talk about stuff. I'm almost certain there's going to be some NASCAR talk for sure.
I heard some things, Joey. I heard some things about NASCAR.
And if you guys have stories that come onto your radar before Friday, and you guys want to let us know, see if we'll talk about it on Friday, but you got to let us know. So hit up Jerry at chicagocorner.tv or contact us on Twitter at Chicago Corner TV, or you can hit me on my Twitter at RDD Pizza or at Nightstar Pro for Jerry. Make a nasty comment after this live stream ends about the stuff you want us to cover on Friday. Don't be too nasty. But
we can take it. We can take it.
So hit the we just gotta hit the like button, please. Share the stream. If you'd like to support us and you have money, head to patreon.com/Chicago Corner. If you would like to support us and you don't have money, that's okay. Like I said, hit the like button, share the stream, tell the world that we exist. Hey, have you watched that? Have you watched that Chicago Corner show where these guys play little crazy clips and beat each other up over the heads with them sometimes? It's a lousy way to do a show, but so hilarious. No, it's not. Oh, it's actually a fun way to do the show. And I enjoy these little interactions that we do here on Chicago Corner. I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. And while I look for the clip that I wanted to play, I'm just going to click on this one.
You stupid, ignorant son of a bitch, dumb bastard! Jesus Christ, I've met some dumb bastards in my time, but you outdo them all. Get over there!
Dude, I was literally looking at that clip and wondering, how can I use that and drop it in right now? And what I was thinking was, we haven't seen Constitutional Conservative for a while, but I thought that might be a little too mean. So what just inspired that drop in?
I just remembering how dumb I get toward the end of the show.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
I'm like, yeah, so.
Fuck this noise, man! Get out!
It's just that I've got all these videos in here, but I have to scroll way up and way down in order to get to the one. So I need to start trimming out the ones that I'm not going to use very often. And then,
well, since we just used that Blues Brothers, we're going to have to use the alt show outro so we don't play it twice.
Oh, is it in the regular outro now?
Yeah, remember that I expanded it? So we're going to have to use the alternate outro.
Okay, you mean the one that's insensitive to Italian Americans?
Pretty much.
Okay, I guess we gotta use that one. Good night, everybody. Sorry for this.
Get out of here, you dago bastard! Go on, get your ass out of here!
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent. If you would like to be a guest on Chicago Corner, please email our host, Jerry, at chicagocorner.tv.
Promotional consideration was brought to you by P.L. Sullivan's International Chicken Wing and Currency Exchange. Behind that one alley. You know the one.